Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to the Bowman Dining Room once again. Tonight we're going to read chapter 13 in Humphrey, and it's called Step Right Up. And the last thing we read was that Humphrey had a dream, and he remembered that he was dreaming about his mother and that she called him her golden boy. So he's thinking about his parents now and his family. So this chapter is called Step Right Up. And I'm having allergy issues today. I did take a Benadryl a few minutes ago, so hopefully it'll take effect. But my eyes are watering really bad, so I'm going to see if I can read this to you. Let's get our act together, Mrs. Brisbane said the next morning. We need to make our final plan for family fun night. Here is a list of what some of the other classes are doing. Then she read from a sheet of paper. Clown toss game, pizza booth, juice and water booth, circus crafts, tightrope walk on the balance beam, glad it's the balance beam, popcorn and cotton candy, elephant rings, circus twirler craft, ticket booth, hula hoop competition, face painting, balloon animals. She stopped reading and looked up. We need to tell Mrs. Wright exactly what we're doing. And what are they going to be doing? Animal acts. Eek, I squeaked. Was Miss Mack's class really going to toss clowns? Wouldn't rings for elephants be large? And balloon animals were bound to pop and make a lot of noise. I wasn't the only one in room 26 who was confused. Are they really tossing clowns? Daniel asked. Miss Brisbane smiled. No, of course not. They have a big board painted with clown faces. There are openings where mouths are, and people throw bean bags to see if they can get them through the clowns' mouths. No actual clowns will be harmed. My friends laughed, and I was relieved, to say the least. Helpful Holly waved her hand. Our teacher called on her. What are elephant rings? They're this big, Felipe said, as he held his arms wide apart. No, Mrs. Brisbane laughed. It's a ring toss game. You have to throw the ring and get it on the elephant's tusk. A real elephant? Cassie looked very, very, very nervous. No, I think they're made of clay, Mrs. Brisbane explained, and they're not quite as big as real elephants. Then she asked us if we were ready to go ahead with the maze and leapfrog games. I guess so, Thomas said. If we can't do the tightrope walking, we could have a hamster toss, Nicole suggested. Just Joey raised his hand. I like the idea of a hamster obstacle course. Most of my friends nodded in agreement. I like the idea of the leapfrog game, Sophie said, and all of the adults competing against their kids. Most of my friends nodded again. Boing, boing, Og said. Very well, Mrs. Brisbane said. Simon's mother has kindly offered to head up parents group to build what we need. She's a really good she's a really good artist, Simon said, and Mrs. Brisbane nodded. I'm sending a note home to your parents to explain the whole thing, she said. Oh, and if your dad would like to juggle for us, Sophie, that would be wonderful, but no knives. I lost my place. I think Mrs. Wright would faint. Sophie looked so proud as Simon did. Maybe I could be the ring mistress? Rolling Rosie asked. Oh, I want to be the ringmaster too, Felipe said. I'll tell you what, Mrs. Brisbane said. I'll make up a list of jobs and then we'll draw names for them. It's a long evening, so we'll need several ringmasters and other helpers. But will there be a job for Og and me? Friday morning, Hurry Up Harry came into the room complaining. It's been raining cats and dogs for 2 days. Eek, I squeaked and glanced out the window. I didn't see any cats and dogs, thank goodness. Mrs. Brisbane reminded him that rain in the springtime is very good for green and growing things. You know the saying, April showers bring May flowers. Harry groaned. The way it's raining, those flowers are going to drown. It was still raining when Simon's mom came to pick us up. I hadn't gone home with Slow Down Simon before, but I had been to his house. His older sister, Stop Giggling Gail, had been in last year's class. Slow down, Mrs. Morgenstern, said her son as she ran out of the room with my cage. Poor Humphrey will think he's on a roller coaster. I've never been on a roller coaster, but it can't be much worse than sliding around in my cage like that. Simon slowed down, but my tummy was still a bit queasy and uneasy. Gail met us at the car. "Hi, Humphrey," she said. "Oh, I've missed you." "I miss you and your classmates too," I squeaked. On the way home, Mrs. Morgenstern explained that she had started on the signs for our booth. She said some of the other students and their parents were coming over to help out. "But it's raining," Simon groaned. Gail giggled. "They're working out on the back porch. It has a roof. Besides, it's not going to rain forever." It was still raining on Saturday, but lots of people showed up to help. Of course, they were on the back porch, and I was in Simon's room. I was still unsqueakably curious about what everyone was doing. I dozed off after a while and was dreaming about my friends from Mrs. Brisbane's previous class. The dream was so clear, I could almost hear AJ's booming voice say, "Hi, Humphrey Dumpty." That was my first nickname before the Humpster. I heard Gail giggling. Maybe this wasn't a dream after all. I opened my eyes and I poked my head out of my sleeping hut. And there they were, Garth and AJ, Heidi, Saya, and Gail. At the beginning of the school year, they used to stop by and say hello to Og and me. But as the year went on, I saw them less and less. They all leaned down and smiled at me. "Come on out, Humphrey. Speak up, Saya said softly. I raced out of my hut. "Hi, hi, hi, old friends," I said I squeaked loudly. Gail wasn't the only one who giggled. "I remember when Miss Mack first adopted Humphrey and brought him to room 26, Garth said. Now I understood. I was adopted by nice people just like Thomas. "I remember when Mrs. Brisbane came back," Heidi said. I remember that really well because she wasn't too sure about having a classroom hamster back then. Gail and her friends settled in on the bed and chairs and talked about me. "My whole family loves Humphrey," Saya said. "He's so funny." "Mine too," AJ said. "We wanted to keep him." They all agreed that they'd like to have me as a family pet. "But Humphrey belongs to us all," Heidi said, "and the kids in room 26 now." "Yeah, he has a really big family," Gail said. "All of us." Later in the afternoon, the parents took a break and came in to say hi to me. Heidi's mom, Mrs. Hopper, said, "I understand our favorite hamster's in here. Hi, Humphrey." "Thanks," I said. I didn't tell her she had purple paint on her cheek. "You're going to love your booth," she added. Sophie's dad gave me a huge smile. "Poor Humphrey didn't get much sleep at our house because baby Timothy was teething. He'll have to come back again sometime." "Any time," I squeaked. Garth rushed in to check on me. "What's going on?" he asked when he saw all the people gathered around. "We're just visiting Humphrey Dumpty," AJ said. "He has a new nickname now," Simon told AJ. "We call him the Humpster." "The Humpster?" AJ thought for a few seconds. "I like it." I liked all of my nicknames and all the students and all the parents. It's nice to be in such a great big family. Late in the afternoon, everybody gathered in the kitchen. Lucky for me, Gail brought me along. Mrs. Morgenstern announced, "We all did such a fabulous job today. We're going to get cleaned up and go out for pizza." On Thursday morning, Daniel's dad will bring a truck to pick up everything and take it to school so we can set up. "Yay," Gail said. "Can Humphrey come for pizza too?" "Very funny," her mom said. I didn't think it was funny at all. I would love, love, love to go out for pizza, even pizza with mushrooms on it. Once I was alone in the house, I started thinking about all the work they had done on the booth. "Your booth," Heidi's mom had said. My curiosity grew and grew and grew some more. I wasn't sure what the back porch looked like or where it was, but I decided to take a chance and find it. I jiggled the lock that doesn't lock and scampered through the doorway. The room had a couch and TV and bookshelves. It also had a big glass door. I was unsqueakably disappointed that it was the kind of door that slides because it was impossible for me to crawl under it. But if I stood very tall on my tippy toes, I could see into the back porch. And what I saw made my whiskers wiggle. Wow! There were stacks of tall boxes painted bright colors and a very tall board painted with red and white stripes to look like a circus tent. A doorway was cut in the middle of the board, and over the opening, painted in big red letters, were the words, Brisbane's Amazing Animal Acts. Alongside the doorway was another sign. Do you dare to try the hamster's jungle maze? The hamster's jungle maze? The hamster, that's me. And what do you know? My picture was on the sign. I sure wanted to try that maze, but I knew I'd probably never get the chance. So here's a picture of the signs, the words that they had on there. Then there was one with Og's picture too, and it said, Take Og's Frog Leap Challenge. And there were lots of great elephant heads on the floor. The porch had windows on 3 sides, and I could see that the rain had stopped and the sun was low in the sky. Everything looked fresh and green and brand new. I was about to return to the kitchen when I saw something in the sky that I'd never seen before. Do you know what it was? A rainbow, I squeaked out loud. It was just like I'd seen in pictures, a magical arch of many colors across the sky. Wow, 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 I said. When the rainbow started to fade, it was getting dark, and I realized that the Morgensterns would be home soon. I raced back to the kitchen and pulled myself up the counter using the handles to the cabinet drawers. It was unsqueakably hard, but I'm one strong hamster, kind of like the strong man at the circus. I ran into my cage and closed the door behind me. Seconds later, I heard the family returning. Simon burst into the kitchen and shouted, Humphrey, we saw a rainbow. I hate you missed it. Not a problem, I said as I burrowed my head into my bedding and quickly fell asleep. Humphrey's spring things. The circus games were ready to go, but nothing could top a spring rainbow. We had some rain today too, and it was kind of cloudy outside. The sun hasn't come out yet, and now it's dark. So hopefully tomorrow will be a sunny day. So the next chapter is chapter 14. It'll be called On with the Show. I've scheduled 2 Google Meets for tomorrow. I hope you can come to one or you can come to both. We've got one scheduled for 1:30 and one for 7:30 tomorrow night. So I'm very excited to see all of you. I've also invited some of our friends, Mrs. Walker, Mrs. Simmons, Mrs. Lowe, and Miss Allen. So they all want to come and be a part of our Google Meet. So I can't wait to see all of you. And I hope that you can see your friends and talk to them too. So good night, Bowman Bunch, and I will talk to you tomorrow.